If you've ever wondered why our actions matter, you're going to want to stick around for our conversation today. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Monday Moments, the show in which we take a deeper dive into Sunday's sermon. My name is Travis, your host. With me today is Pastor Dennis.
Good morning.
And we are kind of concluding this kind of, I'll say, mini-series on Maranatha.
On First Corinthians?
On 1 Corinthians, yes. It's like a spin-off show, you know.
Kazing, James. Kazing.
There it is. Well, you got into 2 Corinthians.
I got into 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a continuation. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I got asked this question the other day, what's the purpose of Monday Moments? What was kind of the vision behind it? And the vision behind Monday Moments originally, and still is, there's so many good things that end up on the cutting room floor when pastors and preachers prepare their messages. Yeah. There's so much that goes into the research. And because of the format of our Sunday mornings, you just can't fit everything in. And this was kind of the case. I remember, you and I had talked the week before about what was on your heart with this message. This is such a big topic. I mean, this could easily be, an 8+ week series just on the coming of the Lord. Yeah. And why it's important, why we need to really have this mindset or this heart attitude of Maranatha. You mentioned in your message, it's this kind of wake up call. As well as a reminder that this world is not our home. And one of the things that you mentioned to me that you were thinking about sharing, and we ended up not because of time, was this great clip from the movie Schindler's List. You want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe kind of set that up? Yeah,
Schindler's List, when was it done? It was done back in the 90s, I think.
I think so. I think that's right.
And yet it's... I think it would be not right to call it a classic. It is such an eye-opening view of for a whole other generation of what happened in the Holocaust. And at the very end of the movie, there's a scene in which Oskar Schindler, he was an industrialist. He was not in any form or fashion a Christian man. But he recognized the injustice of what was going on with the Jewish people, and he didn't take a stand against it. What he did was he took his factories and he turned them into a safe place for the Jewish population. He would hire them because he could hire them as slave labor. Wow. But he was hiring them in order to hide them. And there was over 1,100 Jews that were saved from the Holocaust as a result of it. And so the movie is about that, about him turning that around. And he died in obscurity. He died penniless in obscurity, and yet later on, the Jewish people, particularly Israel, recognized his great gift to the generations of Jews that would follow, and they relocated his remains to Israel, and he planted a tree in what's called the Garden of the Righteous, which are non-Jews who saved Jews during the Holocaust. So this last scene is not about what you would want is this great time of honoring him, but it's not that. It's his sense of how much more could he have done. Right. And so that's the scene. Yeah. And the point is that I think that there will be many people, according to scriptures, who are saved, but saved as through fire. Right. As we talked about on Sunday morning. And this whole idea is that we have purpose here on this earth, and it's not to work ourselves to death. It's to simply do not just what we're called to do, but what we're compelled to do in our heart. The Holy Spirit, his love has been shed abroad, and we need to shed that same love abroad. So this scene is about that.
Yeah. So I want to come back and kind of dive in a little bit to this, but let's pause, and we want to share that clip with you right now. So sit back for a moment and watch this clip.
As soon as peace occurs, I want that cloth distributed to the workers. 2.5 meters each. Also, each person is to get a bottle of vodka. They won't drink it. They know its value. Likewise, those Egyptian cigarettes we organized.
It'll be done. Everything you ask.
We've written a letter trying to explain things in case you were captured. Every worker has signed it.
Thank you.
It's Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. I could have got more. I could have got more. I don't know if I just... I could have got more. Oscar, there are 1,100 people who are alive because of you. Look at them.
If I'd made more money. I threw away so much money. You have no idea. If I just...
There will be generations because of what you did.
I didn't do enough.
You did so much.
This car. Gert would have bought this car. Why did I keep the car? 10 people right there. 10 people. 10 more people. This pin. 2 people. This is gold. 2 more people. You would have given me 2 for it. At least 1. You would have given me 1. 1 more. 1 more person. Person stand for this. I could have got 1 more person. And I didn't. I didn't.
powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Really powerful clip. It's obviously, goes without saying, it's very emotional.
Yeah.
It really, really captures.
I have watched it over the years, over and over again, and it really. I mentioned three things on Sunday morning: our time, our talents, and our treasures that we need to not only dedicate, but actively pursue kingdom business with our time, with our talent, and with our treasure.
Yeah. And it's really eye-opening too, just to hear him at the very end, not just say I could have gotten more, I could have done more, but even just, for a couple of reasons, it's very sobering. He's like,
Yes.
this car could have gotten, what was it, 10 people?
10
Yes.
people.
This gold button could have gotten at least one more.
Yeah.
And
I wasted so much. That's the line that gets me. I wasted so much.
Yeah.
And I think that for all of us, thank God for his grace that is going to be, we're never going to know the grace of God like we will know it when we see Jesus.
Right.
So it's going to be there. There's no question about it. But that sense of what I could have done and what I would have wasted.
Right.
What I wasted.
Now, last week we talked a little bit about, this world is not our home. And in light of, this clip, your message, I wanted to maybe come back or zoom out just a little bit and say, well, okay, if this world is not our home and we are bound for eternity, why do our choices, why do our actions, why do they matter if this world is not our home?
Because this life is just the first grain of sand of life for the Christian.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it is.
it's good.
And eternity is going to be real life. And until we turn our attention to eternity, till we really turn our attention to eternity, we're not building wealth where we should. And so it's not just this emotional or even this guilt-ridden, what are you doing for the Lord? Are you really, no, it's wisdom to build for eternity.
Right.
In fact, Jesus said, take this filthy mammon and use it to save souls, so that when the mammon of unrighteousness fails, when it fails, you will have those who greet you in eternity. It's so clear. And so God is not coming to us and saying, you got to do something. You're not doing enough. Why aren't you? No, he's saying, I'm telling you, I want to instruct you how to do the very best for eternity that you can.
Yeah.
And it's this way. So it's this great gift of love that Jesus says, I've given you time, I've given you talent, and I've given you treasure. And those three things, just like the three men who were given different, and it's even uses the word talents. Bags of money. They were given bags of money. Said, go and do something with this. In the same way, they weren't all given the same.
Right.
The master understood that the person who had 3 bags had more talent, maybe more time, in order to invest it. He knew better. And then the 2, and then the 1. So it's not that God is going to come and overload us, but he gives every one of us. And he says, I want you to take this, and I want you to do what you can with it in order to produce, because it's going to matter in eternity.
And your favorite, term is the filthy lucre.
I love that.
Yeah,
filthy lucre.
Yeah, it's another one of those. It's like Maranatha. We don't use that filthy lucre. Who says that? But it's such a good.
I mean, it's like a pirate term. Filthy lucre.
We're gonna fill our treasure chest.
Arg.
But I think the truth is that God cares about what we do. It's this. Again, I keep wanting to say idea. It's the truth that we are stewards, and one day we will be called into account of what we did.
Yeah, the story is told about the 70 who went out. Jesus sent them out, and he said, go and do. And they came back and told him what they had done.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He rejoiced with them. And when we go before God, the Lord's going to rejoice with what we've done.
Right.
And it's just such a wonderful idea. It's not this idea of, you better get busy,
Right.
or boy, oh boy, there's going to be lots of frowns and fire in heaven. No, he really does want to rejoice with us. And I don't think that he's going to be angry. I think he's going to be saddened. And I can think of people right now in my life who have, they've wasted their time, their talent,
Sure.
and their treasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll be saved, and salvation is of the Lord,
Right.
but rewards are different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's an interesting, or not interesting, let me rephrase that, important distinction.
Yes, it
is.
is.
that
Yeah, it
we are
really
not
is.
saved by
No,
works.
no.
And I don't think for a second that is, what you were saying. And in fact, I know it's not, but I don't think it could have been taken that way. We are not saved by works.
Yeah.
And Paul clearly states that in Ephesians. We are saved by grace through faith, not of works, so that no one can boast.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, the Lord absolutely cares about what we do with what we've been given. And it's not up to us to compare ourselves. Oh, well, somebody else has got more talent or more time or more money or, whatever. It's not, the call is, what are you going to do with what you've been given?
Yeah, and I've stopped struggling. I would try to figure out, well, okay, so what is it going to be like? There are going to be those who all they have is a robe of righteousness that was given to them. And there are going to be others with crowns and with royal robes because of what they produced here on this earth. I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't. I have no idea. I've stopped trying to struggle with it. I just want to obey Jesus' words when he
Right.
gives really a warning to us,
Right.
a warning to us. And Paul gives that warning over and over that, yes, there will be rewards, and I want to be in that line where there's a reward.
Yeah.
I can think of times when I was in high school, and even when I graduated from graduate school, and one of the things I remember is that my mother was there. She wasn't there when I graduated from Bible college, and she really wasn't aware in a lot of ways of what I had done. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But when I graduated from graduate school, I graduated with honors. And I remember having that cord around my neck.
Yeah.
And there was lots of people there, but to have my mom there and for her to see that I was graduating, which was a big deal, but with honors,
Yeah.
she was so thrilled. She really was.
Yeah.
And she wasn't taking it, and she would have been just as happy had I gone on about life and not done that, but there was something about this joy that she had, and I never forgot that.
Yeah.
I was surprised she wanted to be there.
Wow.
But I know I want to be there, and she celebrated it.
Wow.
So what is it going to be like when we get before Jesus, and all of these other people over here are not being celebrated, they're being welcomed, but I'm over here because I've done something with my time,
Yeah. Yeah.
with my talent, and with
Right.
my treasure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and it's just such an interesting thought to think of. What does a reward system in heaven look like?
Yeah.
And what does it go towards? I mean, we're in heaven, right? Like it's paradise, but there is that distinction.
Yeah, and we don't in our world we don't appreciate crowns.
Sure.
We don't crown people. We don't wear crowns. Little kids wear tiaras, and it's a Halloween
Yeah.
costume.
Yeah.
Did I say Halloween? Oh.
Gotta edit that out.
Okay, we'll do that. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean. But that's what it really amounts to. But in Paul's day, and even in England today and in other areas, crowns are very, very important. They signify something. So I don't know if it's literal crowns that are going to be handed out, but the idea that there is going to be great recognition given, there's going to be a noticeable designation to people who have honored God with what God has given to us.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's important. I don't know that it's literal crowns,
Sure.
but it's going to be recognition in some way. And it's going to carry through eternity.
Yeah.
That quote that I had from C.L. Lovett, who is a great, great evangelist in the 20th century that most people have never heard of. But he he spent his lifetime teaching people to lead other people to Christ. That was his whole deal.
Wow.
And he wrote a lot. He had a lot of books out. He did a lot of training. And he taught people how to lead people to Christ and the importance of what it meant
Yeah.
to lead people to Christ. And he said the closest we are ever going to be to Jesus is when we see him.
Wow.
And our maturity is going to be set at that point. So our maturity at the time when we go to see Jesus is going to be set for eternity. That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
And so consequently, I've got to build on that now in order that when I see him, I'll not be ashamed. That's Paul's words, not mine. I
Yeah.
don't want to be ashamed at his coming.
Right. I want to hear, well done, good and
Oh,
faithful
gosh.
servant, you know.
Man, I'll tell you, Travis, that is the one thing. I've often thought, again, that the story of the three with the talents, and honestly, a couple of years ago, as I was thinking, Lord, how much time do I have? I'm 70 years old, and I've asked the Lord for another 25 years, and I think I've got a lot of time. I don't know how long those guys had, but they were able to take what they had and double it.
Right.
I don't want to take what God's given to me and double it.
Yeah.
I want to triple it. I want to quadruple it. I want to do whatever 5 times is. I don't know the word.
Yeah. Quintuple? I don't know.
I want to give him so much more back because of what he's given me. Why?
Absolutely.
Because I have time. I have time, and I don't want to waste it.
Right. Absolutely. How do we live with this heart attitude to where it's not, well, you better get busy because there's going to be
Right,
fire,
right,
but this I want to do what I can because there is still time. However, the time is short.
Yes.
We don't know when
Yeah.
he's going to return.
That's such a great question.
Sure.
And it's something that, I'll be honest with you, it changed dramatically when I was getting ready for this what did you call it?
Message?
Mini-series,
Yeah.
yeah. Because in the past, there really was this kind of, I got to get going. I got to do something. But there's a lot of people who would look at this and say, I don't have, I don't have the wherewithal to know how to talk to somebody. I don't have the biblical knowledge. I don't have this. I don't have that. And yet, combined with this has been a really deep look into the story of the Good Samaritan for me. And through the summer months, I was actually doing some work with a dear friend, some writing, and one of the things that comes up that we know, but we need to really take notice. You know how
Yeah.
you can know something yet not take notice of it?
Right.
Is how many times in the Gospels the church today looks at what Jesus said and what Jesus did. We preach about it. We teach about it. We discuss it. We talk about what did he say and what did he do. But we don't spend a lot of time on how Jesus felt.
Right.
And yet, so many times in the Gospels, it says that Jesus felt something before he said anything or did anything.
Yeah.
It says before he fed the 5,000, he felt compassion for the people.
Right.
The woman who was coming out of Jerusalem with her son who had died, the widow woman, he felt compassion and he raised the dead. It says that he felt compassion for the people and he taught them and he healed them. He felt compassion for the 2 blind men and he healed them. He felt compassion. You go back to the story of the Good Samaritan, and we all know the story how this Samaritan was the one that crossed the road. And yet at the end of the story, to see how deeply the story had affected that one who came to Jesus and kind of challenged him,
Yeah.
and he told the story to, Jesus said, so which one did the will of God?
Yeah.
And the man said, the man who felt compassion
Yeah.
and crossed the road. Before he did anything, he felt compassion. Now, What does that have to do with us? That has to do with the fact that every one of us can ask God for his compassion.
Right.
Every one of us. Why? Because when he gives us his compassion, we can exchange the word active love, practical love, however you want to put it. But when God sheds his love abroad in my heart and I act on that, the result is that I have compassion for other people.
Yeah.
And when I have compassion for other people, I'm doing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any difference what it is. It might just be going up and helping somebody out of a door, or it can be really going to somebody and saying, I'm praying for you. Or it can go all the way to, would you come with me? I can see you're in trouble. Would you come with me and go to church with me? I really want to share what's happened in my life. It can mean all of those things.
Sure.
One of the passages of Scripture that Jesus said, he said to those who at that last great judgment, he said, depart from me, for I was hungry, I was thirsty, I was naked, I was in prison, and you did nothing. Well, when
Right.
did I do that? When you didn't do it for the least of these. But then he says the same thing. He says, here's your reward for
Yeah.
those, because I was hungry, because I was thirsty, because I was poor, because I was naked, because I was in prison.
Yeah.
And when did we do that? When you did it to the least of these. That is the definition of compassion. So I think of Melissa, who's now got a team of people going down to into San Antonio,
Yeah.
and just showing compassion. There's great rewards in that.
Yeah.
We don't think, okay, I'm going to go ka-ching in heaven, but that's exactly what's going on.
Well, and even Jesus talked about and taught on, don't just invite those to feast with you, to celebrate with you, who can pay you back.
Yeah.
Instead, open your home, open your life to the ones who can't pay you, and I'm paraphrasing, who can't pay you back, and there will be great reward in heaven.
Yeah, let me tell you what that is, Travis. What that is we either get a reward here or
Right.
we get a reward there.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of people who are getting their reward here, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah. And even Jesus taught the rich young ruler who came to him, what must I do?
Yeah.
And Jesus said, all of these, or, the rich young ruler replied, all of these things I've done.
All
I've kept
of-
all
I've-
of these
I've
commandments.
done it all.
And Jesus said, well, one thing you lack. Go and sell your possessions, give to the poor, and you will have what?
Treasures
is
in heaven. Yeah.
And the man, the Bible, I was just reading that this morning, as a matter of fact. The Bible describes the man became very sad.
Yeah.
Is how Luke describes it in
Yeah.
that passage. And, that's when, Jesus said, when Jesus saw how sad he was, he said, how hard it is for the rich to enter the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's,
And
yeah,
I
go
think,
ahead.
and again, it's where we could
Oh, yeah.
really go off on that. Every one of us is rich here
Yes.
with something,
Yes.
and we're rich with accolades. We're rich with pride in what we do. We're rich in talent that we've got. But if we
Yeah.
take that and we put it into heaven,
Right.
there's true riches right there.
Right. And I think, bringing it back is when we live this life knowing that there is time, and yet at the same time, there's not a whole lot of time. And that's kind of this weird dichotomy that we live with, is there is time, but the hour is short.
Yeah.
And we mentioned in last week's conversation, and I wish I could chapter and verse it, but that prayer says, teach us to number our days rightly,
Yeah.
so that we might gain a heart of wisdom. What
Yeah.
are we going to do with the time that we've been given, with the time that we have left? And so whether Jesus is coming back tomorrow, 10 years, 100 years, 10,000, whatever it is, we know that we can still accomplish. We can double, maybe triple, quadruple our the investment, the what we have been given to steward.
Yeah, and that's that whole clip that we started out with
Yeah.
with Oscar Schindler. And again, I realize it's dramatization and all of that stuff. I realize it's not, probably didn't happen that way. I get that. But what a poignant moment
Sure.
when he realizes that he didn't do everything he could have done.
Right.
And I think that all of us are going to have a sense of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to have hay, wood, and stubble in our pile. Every one of us. We've done worthless things,
Sure.
And the good part of that is that in an instant, it's going to be burned up. It's going to be gone forever. I'm not going to have to think that was the dumbest thing I ever did. That was the biggest waste of time. What was I thinking? I'm not going to have to think that for the rest of eternity. So for some, it's going to be a blessing to see it all burned up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh, for the one that has nothing except a scorched pile.
Yep.
And that is not preacher's language. That is right out of
That's
the Word
just-
of God.
yeah.
Saved, but as through fire.
Absolutely.
I don't want to smell like smoke when I get into heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to dive into your message. Like we said at the beginning,
Thank you for what you do. We talk about it as a staff, but I know that you put a lot of time into this and a lot of effort, and right now you're getting all your reward right here.
Right now. Quit thanking me. Come on.
No,
Yeah,
thank
no.
you. This is really a joy. I know for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
it really is, and I really do enjoy. As a video guy,
Yeah.
it's always hard to see things end up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
And it's the same with how you and so many other pastors and preachers, you just have to make those cuts to get it into that Sunday format. And so this is a real joy and a real blessing to be able to dive into it a little bit deeper and really kind of, dissect or chew on, the things.
And now you're just getting me back because I robbed you from your
That's right.
heavenly reward. So
Just
now
take
you're
it. And that's going to do it. No, I'm kidding. Thank you as well for being with us for the few years now that we've been doing Monday Moments. We hope that you got something out of this and that it encourages you to really pursue the Lord and say, Lord, would you give me a heart of wisdom to number my days rightly so that I will with joy one day hear you say, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yes.
So if you have enjoyed Monday Moments, whether it's if you're here, you're called Freedom Fellowship your home, and you come up to us on a Sunday morning, we love to hear from you. But if you can drop a comment, send us a message, however it is, we always love to hear from you. If this is your first time watching or listening, there are still more and more people that we hear who are discovering Monday Moments for their first time. We want to encourage you to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, share it with somebody. The same way, follow this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And this is not a way that we can hope to go viral or something like that. We just want to bring more content like this that hopefully encourages you, enriches you, helps spur you on towards love and good deeds and your relationship with the Father. So please consider doing that. We would love to just be able to have more content like this brought to you, and you get notified every time a new episode is live, goes available. So thank you so much again for joining us for another episode of Monday Moments, and we will see you next week.